Today, we're going to talk about a woman who fought a truly brutal system, but not with a weapon. Nope. Instead, she used her position, her knowledge, and just incredible patience to quietly rearrange everything from the inside out. And in doing so, she left a crack in its very foundation. It all kicked off with one single, desperate sentence. So get this. This sentence is where our story really begins. It was written in 1846 and not by just anybody. It was written by the wealthiest, most powerful plantation owners in Dallas County, Alabama. I mean, these were men who believed their identity, their bloodlines, their inheritance. They thought those things were rock solid, the most certain things in the world. And then, all of a sudden, that certainty just vanished.
So you've got to ask, what on earth could cause that kind of collapse? How could a bunch of powerful guys suddenly lose the ability to prove who their own kids were? Well, the answer isn't an army, and it's not an uprising. It's one woman. A woman who was in every room, but was completely and totally overlooked.
To solve this mystery, we've got to rewind a few years. We need to meet the architect of all this chaos, this indispensable person right at the center of the storm, a midwife named Hannah Green. So who was she? Well, the county records called her Hannah Green, but the name her mother gave her was Afoua Asante. By 1842, she was the midwife for a 50-mile radius. I mean, she was so essential, so skilled, that she was given access to go pretty much anywhere. She was constantly moving between the world of the enslavers and the world of the enslaved. And let me tell you, those two worlds could not have been more different.
Just picture it. On one side, you've got the main house. We're talking French crystal, mahogany tables, Persian rugs, the whole 9 yards. Then just a short walk away were the quarters. Unplaned pine boxes, dirt floors, and gaps in the walls you could see right through. Hannah was the bridge. She was the only one who moved between these two realities. And that unique position gave her a unique perspective, and, as it turns out, a unique opportunity.
So, to really understand why she did what she did, we have to look at the specific, cold-blooded cruelty she lived with every single day. And this wasn't just random violence. No, it was a system.
You know, this cruelty wasn't just random, it was systemic, and each person played their part. For the owner, Cornelius Whitmore, cruelty was just accounting. He sold Hannah's husband, Elias, for $820 without a second thought, like he was selling a piece of equipment. For the overseer, Jacob Dalton, it was all about the bureaucracy. His ledger turned people into assets, into dollar figures. And for the mistress, Elielina, her cruelty was disguised as hygiene, arguing that it was just more efficient to separate mothers from their babies at 3 months old. And Hannah, she endured all of this with a kind of silence that her enslavers just mistook for acceptance. But in March of 1842, the system came for the one thing she had left. To cover some gambling debts, her owner decided to sell her 6-year-old daughter, Mercy. The price he listed in his ledger for her child's life was $40. And that was the moment. The moment years of quiet grief turned into a quiet, methodical plan.
Hannah knew that a single act of violence would be totally futile, so what she planned wasn't a quick blow. It was something way more profound. It was a correction, a complete rearrangement of the very system that was trying to tear her family apart.
To pull this off, she had 4 perfect tools. First, her midwife's bag. It was like a universal all-access pass into every single birthing room. No one questioned it. Second, she had intimate knowledge. She knew the histories, the bodies, the families, black and white. Third, she had this unshakable composure, which she'd perfected over years of enduring the unendurable. And finally, she had time. She understood that a plan like this had to be slow, methodical, and absolutely flawless. And her plan unfolded over 4 years and 8 months. Think about that patience. She started in April 1842 with the very first switch. Then that October, her own daughter Mercy was sold, an event that you can only imagine just hardened her resolve. She didn't stop until August of 1846, and by then, she had completely redirected the futures of 29 children.
29. That was the final number, 29 times, in the total privacy of the birthing room where she was the only real authority. Hannah Green put the biological children of enslaved women into the cribs of the plantation owners, and the biological children of the owners into the cabins of the quarters. She was literally rewriting the county's bloodlines, one birth at a time. So when Hannah finally escaped to the north, she didn't just leave an empty cabin. She left a system that was about to collapse under the weight of its own records. And here is the beautiful, poetic irony of it all. The very tool of oppression, that meticulous ledger kept by Jacob Dalton, it became the source of all the chaos. He had turned people into numbers, and now those numbers just didn't add up anymore. His ledger, meant to prove ownership, ended up proving nothing at all. The fallout was absolutely staggering. We're talking about 11 separate court cases, 16 sworn affidavits, and the core of every single fight was about heirship and legitimacy, the very foundation of these men's world. In the end, Dalton's ledger, his whole life's work, was officially marked as having uncertain accuracy. The family lines were just corrupted beyond any legal repair. Now, the houses didn't fall down overnight, and the land wasn't suddenly returned, but that absolute, unquestioned certainty that held the entire system together, that was gone. Hannah's plan didn't just break the rules, it broke the very foundation.
But what about Hannah? I mean, her story doesn't just end with the chaos she created, it ends with the life she built. Hannah made it to Philadelphia, and her skills were so needed that she found work right away. For 14 months, she saved every single penny she earned, and in March of 1848, she did the one thing her entire plan was for. She bought her daughter Mercy's freedom, and they were finally reunited. Hannah went on to work as a respected midwife for another 30 years, training a whole new generation. She won.
You know, Hannah Green's story really leaves us with a powerful idea. There's an old saying about not being able to dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. Well, she didn't destroy it. She rewired it. She used the trust they placed in her, the records they kept, and the access they gave her to quietly challenge their most basic beliefs. So the question remains, what happens when the tools of a system are used to question the system itself?